Do you want to hear about the time I made a Klingon cry? Yes, I made a Klingon cry. Alright, here's how it happened. I was at a convention for Wizards of the Coast. We were in Indiana, I recall. It was a middling-sized convention, but that's fine. Interestingly enough, one of the guests of honor was a friend of mine, in that he was a co-worker from Wizards, but he was a part of the R&D team, so they made him a guest of honor. I'm even going to name him. His name was Sean Carnes. He's worked in the game industry for years. So fine, I'm going to out him here. Sean, he was that kind of friend you rib. We called him Captain Volume. He was a very loud man. And Sean had recently watched a movie with a girl he had been seeing called Hop Frog. All I know about this movie was it involved a bunch of puppet frogs and a dwarf. Specifically the dwarf from Carnival and Twin Peaks. I don't know what's all in this movie, but anytime it came up, he winced. So, I told the convention staff about this story. Told them, hey, do me a favor. Just every once in a while, have somebody walk past Sean and go, Hop Frog. And I would, remember I said he was a very loud man? I knew this because I'd hear him periodically cursing my name. Damn you! With my name, my real name attached. But and then the coup de grace. Somebody went over the PA system. Attention, Sean Carnes. Hop Frog. Damn you! And I mean, Sean and I were gaming, but we were okay. Mentioned I run a wrestling show now. He and I were part of a gaming group for 2.5 years playing the World Wrestling Federation action game. There used to be a WWF role-playing game, and we played this for 2 years together. Well, anyway, have you ever heard of a Klingon jail? I think these days they don't do it with Klingons, they do it with Imperial Stormtroopers. The idea is a charity event. You go up and you make a charitable donation. And they will go and arrest somebody of your choice and put them in the jail for a number of minutes equal to how much money you put down. And Sean felt it was worth $20 to get vengeance on me. So, and I didn't want to go. I was like, I don't want to. I have other things. I was like, well, I can't leave the booth. The guy's sitting there with me. No, I can cover. Fine. Take me to jail. So we get there. Now here's where things start going south. Apparently this jail was very popular. There were a lot of people in the little cell. There were more people than chairs. So I'm either having to stand up or sit on the floor. I do not like sitting on the floor, by the way. And it was an enclosed, it was sweaty. It was hot, it was sweaty, and I was uncomfortable. I also was probably a little too hungry, so I was getting hangry. And I just slowly but surely were just getting more and more pissed off. So I finally went, you know what? They can't actually hold me. I'll even pay money to offset getting out of here, but I don't care. They literally cannot keep me here. I'm leaving. So I stood up to go. The guard stopped me. The guard stood there with her spear and said, "You shall not pass." The guard was small. I mean, she was don't think she broke 5 feet. She was tiny. And she was wearing the very thick glass. I mean, what is known as Coke bottle glasses. She is small, she is tiny, she is wearing Coke bottle glasses. And I said, little girl, do you think you can stop me from coming out of this? She stared at me for a second and then burst into tears. Suddenly, I have a crying Klingon before me. I have made this Klingon girl cry. Later, when I pondered, what did I do? It's like, oh, she's small. She's probably considered nerdy. This is probably a girl that doesn't have a lot of self-confidence in her life. And so the fantasy of being a mighty Klingon warrior probably is very appealing to her. And I have just broken me at all of 6'1", broad-shouldered, deep voice. I have broken that illusion. I'm sitting there, and I realize everyone is staring at us. The other Klingons, the other prisoners, they're all looking at me with a stare that says one thing. You asshole. Well, so much for leaving the cell. I go and sit in the corner. Wait out my sentence. My time is up. They let me go. And they very much get the vibe of it, and they are happy to see me gone. She was gone, by the way, so they had replaced her with somebody else. So I get back to the table, not feeling great about myself. And I sit down, and there's my cohort, I get that. And the moment I sit down, what is this I hear about you making one of the Klingons cry? Wait, how did you... That just happened! Well, it's true! I didn't mean to make the Klingon cry. Look, we're here representing the company. You can't just go around making people cry. Hello, Overlord 2312. I didn't mean to make her cry. It was a misunderstanding. Mostly on my part. Then the worst part happened. Sean, the person who put me in the Klingon jail in the first place, comes by and he's heard this. He is gloating. Gloating. Yes, what am I going to do next? Steal candy from a Ferengi? Thank you for the follow, Overlord 2312. Welcome to the House of Caliban. So this stigma sits over me for the rest of the weekend. I would point out that everyone kept saying hop frog to Sean. But yes. And then, of course, I had to go back to work the next week. Let's just say that story got around the company. So I had to sit and listen to my manager talk about professionalism, and you're representing the company, and I know. And then I had to talk to his boss. It was a time. So yes, the time I made a Klingon cry. The funny part is I have a friend named Bill Morse who does a webcomic called Rhapsodies. He adapted that story into a webcomic, where my part is played by an irate Russian bass player who is jonesing for a smoke.